So we have another guitar here today. This is one that I traded for. It's probably going to end up turning into a restoration video in some ways. But I didn't really buy this, or not buy, but trade this guitar to be kind of a project. But it has things that I've seen on other guitars that I've owned personally over the years that just need to be done. So I don't know if I'm going to post this video or not, but I might, because I'll probably have a lot of cool tips out of it for restoring things. So we're going to do stuff like getting the screws, getting those back to black, obviously cleaning the whole body, so doing a one-over on that, cleaning up the fretboard and frets, which you've seen me do, so I might not show a lot of that, but just kind of cleaning out all the dust and putting on new strings, and then going through the electronics of this guitar and making sure it's working. So yeah, that's stick along with me for the ride, and this puppy's going to be shining. Okay, so one thing I noticed was that this pickup, the neck pickup, wasn't working when I plugged it in. So, or it was, but it was like really low volume. And I remember seeing that in the Les Paul that you guys saw on this channel. And the way I fixed that was I thought I'd have to buy a new one of these. So I bought one for the Les Paul. And I can still technically use it here, but a really easy and cheap way to like fix something like this is to use a can of this. And I just had a rag over this as I sprayed it, and I just held the rag over top like this so that way the spray wouldn't get all over the guitar. And then I just sprayed it. I just did a few shots, and then just, you know, you just move this back and forth, and then you work that stuff in there. And that did the trick. So I fixed the electrical issue because I had popped open the back and it looked fine. And I was like, this is weird. The guy told me like that this was pretty much a brand new guitar that someone bought from him and he never really played. So it's just unfortunately been hanging on the wall and just doing nothing. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go through and keep on fixing this up. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and start with taking off these strings here now. And of course there's controversial methods for taking off strings, but I just find that loosening them and then cutting them is the best. Okay, so now since we have the strings off, we can kind of see the condition of everything a little better. The fretboard has the, you know, rings from use and whatnot, and strings on it. And then obviously the headstock's really dirty, so we'll clean this up. Definitely cannot wait to polish these frets. I mean, they're just so dull. And let's see. Yeah, just I'm gonna definitely dust off, clean off the body, and then do a little wax to kind of get scratches out. So, and then I'm gonna take this apart and clean it as well. Yeah, you'll get to see all that. And I also might split these because I opened up the back and I saw they're splittable, so I might split that. But I don't know. I'll see what kind of wiring mod I want to put on this guitar.
This is like a Music Nomad kit here. It comes with these two. I thought it was pretty useful, but this is just really soft. This feels like a makeup brush, so you can always go buy a makeup brush for, I'm sure they have one of these, like a blush brush for like $1 or $2 at the dollar store.
And then now let's take some of these out. I think I could probably get up there and clean without doing that, actually. I'm gonna do that.
Mostly because I just don't want to have to reset the information of this guitar. Like I said, I didn't plan on this being a project guitar, but I knew there'd probably be some cleanup I gotta do. Definitely looking a lot better. I cannot wait to clean this body. It's so messy. Alright.
I also want to paint the screws. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tape, and then I'll tape it down, and then, or tape underneath this so I don't spill any, and I'm going to paint these. Okay, And I'm using this Rust-Oleum Fast Fix. Definitely used on cars, but I found it's awesome for little touch-ups to guitar parts, especially with black guitars. So let's get into it. And I usually like to get a lot off of this brush before painting because it's pretty thick. But again, like I said, I just want to get this touched up.
Because you're also covering up exposed metal as well. And then if you actually,
And already you can hopefully tell a little bit better on camera, but they do look amazing like that. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start pulling these screws out. I just figured that's gonna be the easiest way to do this. Oh, sorry about that. And if you're not familiar with how these plates work, basically this is a plastic plate that's on here and it holds the pickup in place with these two screws. So if you're not familiar with adjusting these or not comfortable with it, then you can at least start with these, just getting these out, and you don't even have to remove the pick guard to get these out, or the I keep on calling this a pick guard, the pickup cover. So you'll see here in a second how now I've removed all the screws out of this and it's still in place. So it's easy enough that if I wanted to, I could just paint them like this, but I think I really want to pull these out just a bit, and then I'll expose them. So I pretty much, you don't even have to adjust the action. You can just pull it out and you can squeeze it. And while you have it squeezed down, then you can just get the little paint and go in and paint it. So that's there's one. And there's two. Also, another thing I like to do is I like to clean in between here. Just since I didn't take these off and clean it up properly, a Q-tip does really well. I just get a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it, and then I just go to town. Just really cleaning these up, trying to get them to look a little better here. I'm probably going to go through and paint them as well, just the springs, just to get them back to a nice black. So yeah, here we have all the screws painted and looking nice and sharp. I went through and cleaned this, and I painted the tops of the springs because they were starting to show signs of corrosion. There are those screws. It's looking really sharp, at least the hardware. Now the reason why, I'll say a few things about this, is that make sure not to paint the screw threads, the threading of the screw, only the head of the screw with this, because it's kind of like a sticky, gooey substance. So if you get it on the threading, you could potentially get stuff locked up. So just be careful if you do decide to paint these sort of a situation. Just don't get it on the threads of these screws right here. But on that note, the reason why I ended up just painting this hardware rather than getting new hardware is, and I have some right here, but that's like a $15 kit, and this is like a $2 bottle of paint. So for me, if the screws are fine, I'd say just paint them up like this, because this took maybe a few minutes, took just about as much time as pulling these out and putting new screws in than it did to just paint them. So yeah, and then you also don't have to mess with intonation in your bridge here. So yeah, on to the neck. So I just gave this a good old wipe down, and as you can see, it's already a lot better. I'm just going to go through whenever I do the body wax stuff. I'm going to bring it up here and get rid of all this. But yeah, it's already looking a lot better. This hardware, thankfully, has a better paint coating on it, so I don't have to worry about redoing it. But yeah, pretty simple. I'll probably, whenever I do the body wax, I'll probably take this cover off and then wax the whole thing. So that's coming up very soon. Next, I'm going to be using this fine fret polish, which you've seen me use before, to clean up these frets and polish them and get them looking nice. The guitar doesn't feel like it needs any extra work on the sides, which is pretty sweet. And even looking at the ends, you can tell that they were actually bald. Because they look really good. So, yeah, there's no fret pop or anything like that. So I just simply got to shine these up, make sure that they're level, shine them up, and then I should be good to go. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm not going to film it since you guys already know the process. And if you don't, then check out the video that I'll link right here. Okay, so cleaned up the fretboard as well as the frets now, and it is looking nice and refreshed. The wood is very vibrant, so I really like it. I'm looking forward to getting to this body next. So I'll go ahead and load up the camera and show you guys. I'm going to be using a mix of this and this. Well, actually, not a mix, but this will be first, and then it's going to be this. All right, so I'm going to start with the guitar polish and cleaner. So I'm going to just follow instructions on the bottle, and we'll see where we go. All right, and now to keep going with this stuff here on the headstock. Yeah, and already it's looking way better. Now there's that and this, which looks like it's stuff that they got in the paint. So, oh wait, no, that's just something in the camera. So that's gone, fixed. But this right here looks like something that the paint is gone on that. That really doesn't bother me if I'm being honest. I'll never see it. Maybe other people will if they're below me while I'm playing, but that's it. Cool. So this is the stuff that I'm really looking forward to seeing how it treats this body the most. Mostly because it says that it's a body gloss, and usually these things get out small scuffs and scratches. Yeah, so it says seals minor surface scratches while providing a smudge-free and moisture and stain-resistant barrier. So I'm really curious to see how well this actually does that. I have a spot here that is pretty scuffed up. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that right there. So that wasn't really visible whenever it had all the dust and grime on it, but it's definitely visible now. So I'm going to treat this corner heavily and see if we can get this thing looking good. Okay, so I'd say with this, I haven't done the headstock yet. I am 80% impressed. I'm not very impressed, but I am impressed. It did do a good job of getting some of that gloss back and removing the scuff. Oh, wow, it looks the same on camera. It looks better in person. It looks like that in person. But obviously in this lighting, you can still see a lot of the scuffs. But that's why I said I'm 80% impressed. It's not the best in terms of getting a lot of things out. Like there's still, there you go, you can kind of see this here, like little bits of pick scratches that I tried to get out and I couldn't. This is just like, I thought the wax would maybe go in there and really kind of clear up this a little better, and it did an okay job. It makes it look nice and glossy, which is the point, but it didn't like fill or like remove a lot of those scratches from being seen, the minor scratches. Like I'd have to rebuff this guitar to do that, and I'm not going to do that. So overall though, yeah, body's looking super sharp. You can see the reflection of the concrete wall in the background, so that's pretty sweet. But yeah, I'm like 80% impressed. And now I'm going to do the headstock. Yeah, I'd say that is a lot better. It doesn't look as good on camera as it looks in person, but in person it feels like that time where you put like a wax on your car and you like buff it in and then wipe it off, just like what I was doing. It feels like that, to where you get done and you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely shinier, but it's not like factory. Okay, so today I'm going to be using these Dunlop 1060s heavy core for heavy metal. So I'm not sponsored by Dunlop, I promise, but if they'd love to sponsor me, totally cool with that. Or if any other company would love to sponsor me, that's fine too. But yeah, so I'm going to try these out and see how they do and crank out some metal on this puppy. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but it has a good amount of like not that great looking corrosion or whatever, grime or dirt. We're about to find out. But I'm gonna change that up and see what we can get out of this. Oh yeah, look at that. See, nice old chip out of the paint there. Saw that coming. Okay. Alright, that's fine. Doesn't really bother me that much. Oh yes, here I can see we have an alder body. I'm just kidding. Alright. I think so. Yes, sir. Sweet. Oh, cool. I thought I was going to have to repaint some of this, but thankfully I don't. It was just grime on there. And that's the nice thing about cleaning a guitar like this is that whenever you're cleaning it, like wipe it first before you just assume that it's dirty and just spray it. Like wipe it down as good as you can. And then start to make assumptions. I'm going to do what I did with the other screws on this guitar, and that is leave them out just a little bit as I paint them. Okay, so I'm sure you noticed that I did not clean the back side of this yet, and that was kind of because I was just really excited to get this thing together and get it tuned up and play a little bit on it, because I haven't gotten to play it that much. But here I am, cleaning the back as needed. So yeah, just you can take a look at this process. I'll kind of, to make this more fun to watch, I'll explain a little bit of what I did with the guitar. So I got it tuned up and I started playing, and as soon as I went up to the 13th and 14th note for some real genty riffs, I realized that the intonation was just completely cracked. It was so bad. It was a whole entire like half step off, and so it was pretty bad. So I had to do some intonation work on this, which I would show, but I'm not an expert, and you could probably look up some videos that are better than how I'd explain it. Honestly, Sweetwater has one that I'll try to link if I remember. That's a good video to watch, and yeah, that's where I'll leave that at. But I had to fix some intonation issues with it, and that took a long time. And especially I'm like playing some spirit box, so I am in a very, very low tuning, so the intonation was really tough to get, honestly. But I got it, and it was nice. And it's basically good. I also had to straighten the neck a little bit too, because it was a little bit bowed. But other than that, it really worked out pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with this. I do love the black color, and the fact that the tuning pegs are black, and I got the hardware looking nice and gloss black, and just, I don't know, just looks really nice. Alright, so now we're on to this here. Okay, so here she is, all done up and good to go. I'm very pleased with this guitar in general. I've never owned a 7-string before, so this has been really fun. I already started working on a song. The toughest thing has honestly been the intonation and keeping pitch on the lowest string, especially since I'm in a drop tuning. I think I'm in like drop D sharp or something crazy like that. But I wish there were better options for bridges, because I would replace this to have one that is better intonated. Or, I mean, that's probably why people have fan fret guitars. But nonetheless, I'm very happy with this still, and I really do like the color of it. The only thing I'd say is that this gloss black is just a dust magnet. I've already had to wipe it down a few times. But it's not grimy or anything, it's just the dust. But yeah, so there she is, and there's the Les Paul from the other video. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for whenever I put out a playthrough where you get to hear how this guitar sounds. Because honestly, with these B.C Rich humbuckers, it sounds pretty good. It's pretty metal, and I enjoy that a lot. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.